come in and they're not exactly sure of what service they want, but one thing they do know is that they do not want to weave based off all of the negativity surrounding weave damage. So this video is to give you 10 tips on having a successful experience with a sew-in weave. Using moderation and discernment, those are the key factors in determining the true outcome of having your sew-in weave. First thing you need to do is is a texture assessment. You need to determine what type of hair you have. Very, very fine, thin, weak, damaged hair cannot have a sew-in. Fine hair can wear the sew-in for about 6 to 8 weeks, leaning more towards the 6. Medium hair can go 8 to 10 weeks max, and very coarse hair, you can max it out at 12. And that's because at 12 weeks, that is when your new growth begins to dreadlock, and you'll have that very rough takedown where it feels like it's taking too long to come out. That is why. And a weave that is always and most often ever overlooked is a very neat braided base. You cannot have a sloppy base. If you have a sloppy base during your install, it's going to grow out and it's going to cause tangling. You need a very neatly parted base in order to have a nice grow out. You want to retain your length, and you will not be able to with excessive tangling or matting in any form. So throughout the install of the base, you need minimal starting points. You don't want those D'Angelo braids going straight back, because that causes hair loss, because it's too much tension on your hair. So imagine that. It's almost as if when you have the braids starting from the hairline or anywhere like that, and now you're sewing tracks, so it's almost like a squeeze. It's almost like it's pulling your hair down, and now you're pulling hair away from the hairline. Never get a sew-in with straight back braids. No thug braids. A mini tip is, if you have fine hair, under no circumstances can you braid your edges. Perimeter is what I call it, but under no circumstance can you. You cannot do it. And that's every texture. You can go online, you go on Instagram, and you see people you just want everything you see. Like when your mama said your eyes bigger than your stomach, it's the same thing with weaves. You see it, you want it. Everything is not right for everybody. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody's texture is different. A lot of these influencers and celebrities, they don't have these styles on for longer than 2 days. So think about what's practical for you in your life, not what's practical for the divas. What's practical? The biggest no-brainer is your braids cannot be too tight. They cannot be too tight, because imagine that, it's tight already, and now you're gonna start sewing tracks onto that base, which is going to make it tighter. And of course, we all know that causes traction alopecia, which is considered one of the biggest reasons why people hate weaves and weaves are damaging, is because they are too tight. You cannot have two. You have to be very careful when you're getting your install and you start feeling like it's too tight. Let your stylist know, woo, it's getting a little too tight, because it's only going to get tighter once the sewing starts. Now what do? You make sure you keep your hair and your scalp clean. You can still maintain a healthy scalp, clean scalp with the weave in. Shampoo at a minimum every 2 weeks, and deep condition as well. Even if you cannot get to the salon to get your deep conditioning treatments, make sure you condition your braids, put on a plastic cap, put on a skull cap, and vacuum your house, or start dinner, or watch a movie. Just make sure that you do keep your hair and your scalp clean and deep condition. The thing that people don't do while the weave is in is you have to moisturize your braids. I know nobody wants a greasy weave. That's not what I'm telling you. You don't have to have a greasy weave, but you can moisturize your braids. You can get a nozzle bottle or a spray bottle, go between the tracks and just do a little bit. Just make sure you moisturize your braids, because moisturizing your hair, especially for our hair, is key to length retention. And letting your hair get too dry at any point, whether it's in a sew-in or not, is the biggest reason that people experience breakage and they cannot retain length. So make sure that you moisturize your braids every 2 to 3 days. Your hair should be, I would recommend that you go to a professional to get the hair taken down. I know a lot of people want to save money and don't really want to pay for a takedown, but you need a very careful, meticulous takedown. You cannot just rip through your hair. You have to really be careful with the detangling process. My clients will tell you how I am with the takedowns. I don't do a rough takedown. We're very careful because the goal is to retain length, because you had the weave in for a while. We want to see if it grew. So you have to have a professional or very careful, meticulous takedown. Decide to take it out at home. Either way, once the weave is out, you have to make sure that you can brush through your hair completely before you apply any type of water. You have to be able, because now if you do not, all those shed hairs, because your hair is still going to shed, all those shed hairs are still going to be in your hair, and once you shampoo and wet it up, it's just going to tangle up with your hair, and detangling it, you're going to lose hair. So you have to make sure that once you take the weave out, you can completely and thoroughly brush through your hair before you shampoo. For me, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is moderation. The biggest true reason that we are saying that weaves are so damaging is because people are committing weave abuse. Weave abuse is getting a weave and wearing it for 11 years. You cannot make a hairstyle a lifestyle. I know it's easy. Oh, it's so easy. Trust me. I know. It is very easy to do, but you have to take breaks. You have to do it in moderation. You have to take breaks from it, assess your hair, see how's your hair doing. You have to do it in moderation. Weave abuse is the #1 reason that we are losing hair with this. I keep having clients who wear weave for 20 years straight. Now, when I say straight, I mean straight without a break. So get the weave in moderation.